Welcome to Latex Workshops, tutorial number 11. We're going to make a simple skirt using a pattern. We're using wallpaper liner because it's very cheap and it's ideal. I've already written down all of the measurements. To start, we need to draw a vertical line down the middle. This is going to be your side seam. Then draw a horizontal line at the top, leaving a few centimetres from the top of the page. The first measurement we shall need is the vertical measurement from our upper hips to the hips. This is 14 centimetres. So go down 14 centimetres and draw a horizontal line at that mark. As this is a basic block pattern, we view it from your side. So it's from basically your spine, which is the centre back, to your centre front, which is just the middle of your front. So the bit in the middle is the side seam. So we have to divide all of the measurements by 2. Our hip measurement was 92, so if we divide that by 2, that equals 46. But because we're using latex, we want it to be skin tight, and so we must also minus 10% off of all of our horizontal measurements, nothing from the vertical measurements. So we're going to say 46 minus 10%, I'm going to say that equals 42 centimetres, which means 21 centimetres either side of your side seam. For the other half of your pattern, you simply mirror or turn over your pattern, and there it is, a perfect fit. As this is the widest part of the block, please draw vertical lines at the ends. The next measurement is our crotch depth line, which is 8 centimetres below the hip line. So please just measure down and then draw a horizontal line across. Of course, this block isn't a perfect fit for you, so we're going to shape it to make sure it is. Our upper hip measurement is 80 centimetres, so we need to divide that by 2, which equals 40 centimetres, and as is a horizontal measurement, we need to minus 10%, so that equals 36 centimetres. Just as I have the calculator, we'll also do the crotch depth line measurement. The crotch depth line measurement was 86, so we divide that by 2, which equals 43. Again, a horizontal measurement, so we need to minus 10%, and I'm going to say that equals 38. Back to our upper hip line, which is 36 centimetres, but the line that's already drawn is 42 centimetres, so that means the upper hip line that's on the page is 6 centimetres too long. I got that simply by minusing the upper hip line 36 from the hip line, which is 42, so that's 6 centimetres. To make the upper hip line 36 centimetres is very easy. All we have to do is add a couple of darts. Our bottoms are basically 1/3 in the front and 2/3 in the back. So I'm going to divide the 6 centimetres by 3, and at the front I'm going to have 1/3, which is 2 centimetres, and at the back 2/3, which is 4 centimetres. Then it'll be a perfect fit. I've decided for style and also from experience to go from the side seam forward 2 centimetres into the front half. That's going to be our first dart. From that mark, we're going to draw the dart to the hip line. As we don't want to change the size of the hip line, we're going to draw the dart to finish by the side seam. The back 2 darts I'm going to position to give the best look, which is also the most comfortable fit. From the side seam, go towards your centre back line 3 centimetres. Mark a 2 centimetres dart, go another 3 centimetres, and mark your second 2 centimetre dart. These darts also need to go to the hip line, again not changing the size of the hip line, and so on your hip line, from the side seam, go towards your centre back line and mark points at 4 centimeters and 9 centimeters. Now draw in your triangular darts. That's your top half nicely shaped. Now we want to do the bottom part. It's exactly the same process. The crutch depth line is 38 centimeters and yet the actual line is 42. So if we minus 4 centimeters, that'll get us down to 38 centimeters. I'm not actually going to take off any darts from the front because it just makes it a bit easier to walk. At the back, that means we have 4 centimeters, which are 2 darts of 2 centimeters. I'm going to put them in exactly the same positions as the top darts, so they'll mirror, and I'm just going to join them at the same point, of course. On the upper hip line, at the side seam, make a mark 1.5 centimeters upwards. Now join each side, the centre back and centre front, to that mark and extend your darts to reach the new line. This is to compensate for the curvature of our bodies. When we wear our skirt, the upper hip line will now look straight. So now we have a perfectly fitting pattern up to our crutch depth line. However, of course, we would like our skirt to be a little bit longer, and that's just arbitrary. It's up to you whether you want it to go to mid-thigh or above your knee, and all you have to do is just measure the circumference at that point and the vertical measurement from your crutch depth line to your end line. You can use the same process to make a tight-fitting pencil skirt, or you can leave a little bit of extra space called ease in order to make it easier to walk. If you would like your end line to be wider than your hip measurement, then you need to add some width to your end line. It's easy. For example, if you want your end line to be 48 centimeters, then add 3 centimeters to each half, the front panel and the back panel. For the front panel, on your end line, from the side seam, make a mark 3 centimeters towards your centre back line and draw a line from your side seam on your crutch depth line to that mark. For your back panel, perhaps use a different colour pen. Again, on your end line from the side seam, make a mark 3 centimeters towards your centre front line and draw a line from your side seam on your crutch depth line towards that mark. When you cut out your pattern, cut the front panel first. You will notice that you've chopped a bit off of the back panel, so just copy that bit and stick it onto your back panel. The end line is now 48 centimeters. You now have the skills to make a skirt for any pattern. Right, it's now time to cut up our original pattern. It's useful to number our panels, so from left to right we're going to number them 1 to 4. It's also a good idea to make some notch marks, ensuring that when we join the panels we do so equally. Just make holes in the defining horizontal lines. So that is, for example, on your hip line. Now place your panels onto the latex. This is called the lay. Of course we want to have as little waste as possible, so careful as we arrange them. Panel number 1 is actually only half of its actual size. The centre back line, of course, being in the middle. Simply draw with a white gel pen around the panel and then turn it over with the centre back line being in the middle and draw around the other half. we need to add a seam allowance. Simply add 1/2 centimetre all seam lines, and this will allow you a 1 centimetre seam. It's the same process for panel number 4. For panels number 2 and 3, mark these 2 and 3R for right. Then turn them over and draw separate panels marking them 2 and 3L for left. Now cut up all our panels and we'll be ready to go. I always like to lay all of the panels out in front of me to make sure that everything is perfect. It also gives me an opportunity to actually mark where the seams are going to go with arrows so I don't make any mistakes. So in the normal way, we just join all the back panels together, so we're left with 2 halves, the back half and the front half, and now we're going to join those together. As by the previous tutorials, you know to roller all of the seams, to add a bit of talcum powder to take off any excess glue, add your stress point guards, and you're ready. Well, of course I would model it, but it's not my size. So here it is, and jolly good luck with yours. Not forgetting that you can accessorize. For example, you can add a lovely applique to the front, or perhaps a cheeky keyhole to the back. There's a few options you can do, and accessorizing really does make a big difference.